You don't know that. You really don't know that. Unless you've got a crystal ball that I haven't seen. I've looked on eBay, none of them work. Then you don't know that. You may end up in real trouble one day. It could be that you get disabled and stuff like disability, which I've avoided for a long time because I'm so ashamed of the concept of taking money from my government, from the taxpayers. What a fucking weird... You know what? That's a huge problem in America, but I'm not getting into politics. You need to give people a break if they're genuinely fucked up or in dire straits. Seriously. Now, the people that are abusing the system... I wouldn't care if you whipped them with pool noodles, because that would be extremely loud and embarrassing in a way. It's a little bit dehumanizing to be beaten with foam, cylindrical long objects. Not that wouldn't make for good pornos, but we're talking about two different paths here. Now, let's get back to the topic. Thank you. Thank you, Barco. I want to say thank you. And my next friend is named Joe. Now, none of you know Joe, because Joe lurks in the shadows. And she may not even be listening to this show. She lives out west. And she's a friend that I met. You're going to like this. Well, maybe you won't. I don't really give a fuck. It's going to be told anyway. So we're playing this game on Facebook back around, 2008, 2009 time frame. I was up in Northern Virginia. I was working with a copier company up there. I worked with a couple copier companies up there after I left Xerox and Konica Minolta. And sure enough, she comes in and joins our clan. There's like these, I don't know what you call them. I can't remember. It's like a clan, but it's like a country. You're part of a little country, and you join together as a group and you fight people. It's Kingdoms of Camelot. It's kind of like a medieval warfare sort of on a 2D, cheesy graphic game. It may have changed since then. I haven't played in 5 years, if it's even still around. But what you find about the way someone plays a game is you find who has leadership abilities. You find who cares about other people. You find who's out for themselves or who just really sees it as a silly game and they're just kind of in your group because your group was there. That's okay. That's okay. I'm just saying you learn this stuff about the people in your group. If you've ever done anything like this, even if first-person shooter where you're in a clan, you learn about people. You really can learn a lot because people are rather unguarded in their gaming, I'll say, psychological profiles. They're very unguarded. You think about that. It's a great way to learn about people. It really is, because they're not... They have the bravery that the anonymity of being on the internet in a remote location gives them. And that reduces a lot of the fluff. A lot of the smoke and mirrors disappears right there. And you get to see what a person's really like, especially if they've had a bad day or they haven't had much sleep or they've been drinking a little. These things that wear down your defenses a little and let the animal come out a little more. You get to see what somebody's all about. And let me tell you something. I'm about sick of hearing people make moral judgments on animals. We are animals, folks. We're fucking animals. We're lucky we've made it this far. And anyway. So Joe comes in. And she's helping people right off the bat. What can I do to, I want to, we're going to organize raids against, oh no, we're getting invaded. We got to help these new guys that don't have any defenses up, stuff like that. I don't remember all the details because my memory's going. But what I saw with Joe, and my friend Shane and I were the co-leaders, co-founders of this group. And it was called the Berserkin Bastards. It was kind of cool, actually. And we became rather large. We became the number 2 group in that whole server area, whatever it was. So, and then my friend Jan from Indiana was also kind of right there running with us. So there was like 3 of us kind of running our show. And I thought, why don't we do 4? And then we'd have two females and 2 males not because we needed a 4th. I wasn't thinking that. But Joe rose through the ranks. I mean, this was one of those human beings that you did not have to meet to know that you would trust working with on something very important. And I was right. I was right about all 3 of them. I mean, Shane was an old friend from high school. We weren't buddy in high school, but we knew each other. It was a small town. You have your little cliques. He wasn't in my close clique, but he was among those people that I surely would have pulled over to help change a tire. I'll put it that way. And good guy, through and through, up and down, inside out. You just don't find badness with Shane. He's one of those humans that has practiced for a very long time on getting away from the animal and become a civilized creature. And the same goes for Jan, too. Very helpful, extremely helpful, very customer service type oriented in her approach to people. Like, how can I help you? And I'm also going to let you vent a little bit without snapping at you. So she helped me more than a couple times in that respect. But Joe was different a little bit. Joe came up. It's like she knew everything. You ever met somebody in life that looks like or acts like they know everything, and they're just completely stunned by the beauty of everything they see in life? You know? I wrote about a character in my last book, Addie's Boom and the Blast Frontier. It was about the girl, the lead character on the female side, Lauren, her mother, who was gone. She had died, and I won't tell you why. And she said that her mother was like someone who knew exactly how beautiful everybody really was inside, but couldn't tell anybody. It was a secret. You know, and that's kind of what I get from Joe. And Tanya and I, my fiance, over the past 4 years we've been together, we've hit our bumps on, you know, basically financially. And I'm not even going to beat around the bush. But it's more than that. You know, we've had challenges of different kinds with family and with a lot of things. And she just seems to show up. It's like she can smell when there's trouble. And I couldn't be more thankful to have this human being in my life, in my circles. Let me tell you what, if it's a contest, Joe wins. I have to put her at the top because she is such a complete human being on every area. And this is going to get some of y'all, because I know you like to make fun of people that aren't white and Catholic, but she is white, and she's a convert to Judaism, adult convert. And yeah, so I love a Jew. What are you going to do about it, huh? She's fucking awesome. She's awesome in every way you can be awesome. Here's this great person, and last year she gets a call that her son, one of her two sons, has been killed in an automobile accident. He was only maybe, 32. It's at that moment that an agnostic like me looks up to the sky and says, if you're there, you're a dick. And I mean it. What God would let something like that happen to someone like her? Well, only God knows. He works in mysterious ways. Well, if that was some kind of lesson, let's say you come back like the Indians believe, that you come back several times till you get it right. And she was being schooled on handling grief. And she had to have the most important thing that existed taken from her in order to graduate to the next level. That's the only rather wacky, in my opinion, theory that I would be able to accept. Otherwise, either God's a dick or God just isn't there. Honestly. Because that cannot happen to a woman like her. That cannot happen. I'm not over it. She's starting to get over it, and I'm not over it. And I can't tell you how hard it is to be angry and have no place to place the anger upon. There's no culprit. What was it? Was it just the drive? Was it the circumstance? I mean, what cars? And I'm looking for something to hate so I can beat on it, and I can't find anything. It was just a car accident. And I'm not over it. And sometimes when I sit here and I think about her and what she went through, I shake. Because to have a kid taken from you, I can't imagine. I won't imagine it. And I've got a pretty good imagination. I don't want to because I'd fall over dead. And she's made it through. And I've tried my very best with my little typed words to help her make it through. But she's gotten her real support, I think, from people close to her. And that's what's really gotten her through. And yet in that, she still rises up to come help me when she can. Now, if that's not a physical and spiritual and psychological warrior, then I don't know who is. I mean, she thinks that maybe in a past life we served together on some grand battlefield. She has that vibe. And I'm not completely opposed to that. I think that's entirely possible. I'm absolutely fucking fully infatuated with the story of William Wallace. And I have no real reason to be, no Scottish history in my line. I've got some English on mom's side, and then Norwegian, Vikings on my dad's side. And then some of us, went to Germany. So we've got some mostly Norwegian and English roots, some in Germany. I'm just infatuated with the story of William Wallace. I've read books, all the fucking books there are about him, and trying to get the history right, because I like to have an accurate picture, even the bad stuff, if there is any. I want to know it all. I don't like to just see the Hollywood glamorized version of something. And if you saw the movie Braveheart, let's give them credit. They did capture the spirit of William Wallace in that movie, but so many technical details were really off. In fact, the real William Wallace, if you want to compare it to the movie, looked more like Amish, Hamish. They said it in different ways in the movie. The big redheaded dude, yeah, Wallace looked more like him, a little bit more like him, definitely more like him than Mel Gibson. He was a big dude. He was burly, big boned, and anyway, that was unusual for that time period in that area of the world. So immediately he had this kind of advantage. And then when he started standing up to English guards that would just routinely rob Scottish people as they were policing the towns and rape people, he said, fuck that. Somebody's got to do something. And I love that guy for that. And what he led from there, knowing that he was going to, in the end, be castrated and dismembered and be disemboweled while still living, knowing all that was coming, because England's too big. It's just a matter of when. Maybe you'll die in battle. Probably you'll be captured somehow, and then they'll torture you. He knew that was coming. Once he decided to kill the first guard, he knew it was coming. And I love this guy. And I think that maybe somehow, maybe other people don't look at battle and the avenue and area of good reasons to battle the way I do. I think battle shapes a nation, and it can definitely shape an individual. You look at the Revolutionary War in America and you say, here's a bunch of guys who could have just stayed peaceful. Look, they didn't want trouble. They were living fine. They were doing their crops. What, they had some taxes to pay? So what? Go independent. You're still going to pay taxes. I mean, there really wasn't a lot of incentive for them to want to go independent, especially if it meant blood. But slowly the idea caught on that, these founding fathers decided, hey, we could have something special here. We could do something different than England. We could do something different than the rest of the world. We could really build a country that is based upon the desires and will of the people. We could do that. Let's put it in writing. I'll prove it. If we put this in writing, get it ratified, get things signed into law, we'll show you that we mean business here, that this is going to be a government by, of, and for the people. Now, since then, it's bent over and taken a big, giant corporate dick in the ass. Not really consistent with the topic of my show tonight, but I can't let a show go by without mentioning how corrupt America has become. It's sad. Hey, we all want to do well for our family, right? And I'm telling you, if you're a politician, you're doing all the right things. And some, I don't know, big pharma company comes up and says, look, man, I've got $400,000 for you here, and I'm not asking you to do anything. Just remember us. Just remember us when legislation comes through. What are you doing wrong by taking that? Ethically, it is wrong, but you weren't asked to do anything, but you know what you're supposed to do. See, here's what I would do. To be honest with you, I would check the laws first. If this was legal, this is what I'd do. I'd look at the drug, look at the company. I'd do my research. If it was a good drug and it was a good company, I'd play a game with this lobbyist. I'd be like, well, I don't know. That's edgy there. You want to give me a campaign donation, and I suppose you'd expect some kind of favoritism when it comes time to vote on legislation that affects you. I'll think about it. Play a game with them. Act like you're not so sure you believe in their product, but really you do, because you've researched this one and you like it. Maybe it's helping people fight the pain of cancer. So you come back and say, okay, all right, I'll do it. And it's legal. You've checked the laws. Why wouldn't you do that? Fuck yes, I would do that. I mean, is that dishonest? See, we need to start thinking not as us and them, but that they are us. These people that get elected to office in America, they're Kenny from the 5th grade. You know him. You remember him. He picked his nose a lot, always had properly ironed and pressed shirts. He's a little different, but he loved America. You knew that. He's in office now. These are not strange people that they import from Uruguay. which I can only say while shitting properly. I don't know. Let's see if any of you fuckers are in chat. I usually